All right, welcome back to another episode of the Kitchen Table Podcast where business gets done. I'm Ken Baden, and today we have the one, the only Dmitry in the house, all the way from Minnesota. Dmitry, how are you, sir?
Living a dream, brother. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on, man, and thank you, John, for connecting us. I mean, but you're a big name in the roofing industry. You've got an awesome YouTube following. A lot of folks, especially in our circles, know you, and I'd say there's probably like what I don't know, four or five mainstays. You, Adam Bensman, John, Lee. Is there anyone I'm forgetting?
We have a lot of good guys in this industry, big names. Yeah, like it's Adam, John. There's a lot of people, and I
Yeah.
interview like 150 people. We have famous lawyers, we have famous public adjusters, we have good influencer. We don't have a lot of very, very consistent people like Adam Bensman or John. They're just so consistent, like you can't
Yeah.
go anywhere without them, and they've been consistent for many, many years. We also have a lot of like in the roofing industry, we call them fly-by-nighters. But
Mm.
in media world, we also have a lot of people who will go and the statistics there, most people will do one, two, three episodes. They don't see the views and stuff, and they shut everything down. So the content is hard. Like we do have stars for a day or two, or people think they're stars on Facebook or Instagram, but they
Mm.
come and go, and people disappear very quickly from very little fame that they have. But if you put in years and years, you'll make it to the top in the sense of like following or making a name in the industry. But it's not easy.
No, it's not. I mean, we've been doing this for over 2 years now, and we're still trying to crack the code, but we've been consistently just cranking out episodes. But that's what it's all about. We've also had we don't get paid to do this, but we get to meet some awesome people like yourself. You create a really cool network, and that network, in many ways, has been its own form of payment for me. Anyhow, I really enjoy doing this, and for me, networking is everything. But speaking of yourself, I really love everything that you're doing and all the things you're working on. You're kind of like the prototypical like roofing dream. So for me, I have a roofing remodeling company. First, it was just remodeling, right? Because back in the day when I first got into it, it was windows. Windows was the roofing of today. Everyone was doing windows, and then roofing took over, and then insurance became the big thing, right? But I'm from a traditional retail background, as I understand you are, right? And so take me through kind of how a guy like yourself, because I know how I got into it, but you sound like obviously I know you're from Russia, so take us through, if you will, kind of that story of how'd you even get into roofing in the first place before all these other things happened. I know you had a company, I know you sold that company, but can you take the audience through just sort of a Cliff Notes version of how Dimitri gets over here and gets into that and builds this thing? I'm sure it wasn't handed to you, right?
First, well, typical immigrant story. We come here. I came here in 2005 from Russia. I was 22 years old. I just celebrated 20 years in the United States. I believe that the United States to this day is one of the greatest countries on earth as far as opportunity potential. If you come here, if you work hard, you will like the buying power, the people like I see a lot of people are depressed now. I have several friends who are living country. I've been texting with a guy today. He's like, I'm going to Costa Rica. This country goes to shit. I don't agree with that. I
Mm.
still think that future is bright, like Patrick Bet David says. And I truly believe it. I made it here. I came here. I did not have these kind of opportunities in my own country. I think you can build something here. You can pass it to your kids. You can sell it here. So I got here in 2005. First 3, 4 years were just like grinding and getting your feet wet, trying to understand where the money is. But as an immigrant, construction is the fastest path to highest dollar per hour job. Yes, you can work at a restaurant, and I've done that. I've worked at the deli for like 6 months, but I start hanging siding. So I would say first 6, 7 years I worked for someone. So I've done insulation, I've done siding, I've done tiles, a little bit of roofing. So I worked for a general contractor. We flip homes. We would remove the roof and add another layer to it. But after 2 years of working for GC. He files bankruptcy. It was in
Mm,
Atlanta, Georgia. And I came home, told my wife I will never work for anyone else, and I never did. I opened a company overnight. My first business was a flooring company in Atlanta, Georgia. And I ended up selling that company 2 years later, moving back to Minnesota because my mother-in-law had a cancer. So literally everything was doing well. I actually was growing the company. It was so good. And one day I told my wife, listen, your mom is dying. I didn't have my family here. So they were the family. And at that time we had 4 kids. Said, let's go to Minnesota. My wife asked me, what are you going to do there? Said, same thing I do here, construction, whatever. I'll figure it out. And then that's how I got into roofing. It was 2012 to 2013. So I sold my flooring business to my biggest client and worked for them for like 8 months. And after I sold it, I was going to Minnesota and I was doing research. They're 1,000 miles away. So my reputation there in the flooring business does not translate to Minnesota. So I asked everyone, all of my buddies, the guy I used to, my best buddy who I used to hang siding with, I called him. I was like, Alex, if you would open company today, what would you do? He's like, money in roofing. Every builder I know will never churn out a roofing job. Everybody knows that, roofing is easy. It's a quick cash. It's 1 day project, right? If you come to a remodeler, window guy, gutter guy, say, can you do my roof? Nobody will turn it down. I'm like, okay, there's something to it, but it's competitive. There's a learning curve. So I moved to Minnesota, opened a roofing company, 2013, grew it. I was very big on Angels List. When I joined
mm,
Angels List in 2013, in few years, I were the highest rated company, like 350 reviews. In 4 years, I was one of the highest, like 750 reviews, 5 stars, building my business on the back of Angels List. All retail, didn't know anything about storms, didn't know anything about insurance claims. I had to learn it a little bit later to diversify, but build my company. And in 2018, when Angels List got bought by Home Advisor, it kind of went to shit. I was devastated. Like I hated it. Like my business never ever had a slower year than previous year. We always grew,
mhm.
no matter where leads are coming from. But when Angels List closed in 2017, 2018, I was in love with it. I was teaching other contractors how to work on your reviews, on your customer service. So that's how I decided to build my next company, directory.com. I'm like, it's not that complicated. In this country, we don't have that household platform like Uber or like in other countries, like in Europe, in Israel, in Russia. We have apps similar to Uber to find a contractor. Here, if you ask even a contractor where to find a contractor, yeah, we have Home Advisor, which is 1% of market share. Like we don't have household name like Airbnb or in other industries or Zillow. We know if you looking for the house, go on Zillow, right? Or a few other apps. We have this giant app, but in our space, we did not have it. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna invest my money and I'm gonna build what Angels List used to be. So in 2018, I set my eyes on building the platform. It took me like 2 years to figure it out. Sold my company by 2020, started directory.com. So sold my company because there's a big conflict of interest. You can't be in the tech space recommending roofers and be a roofing
Be a
company.
roofer. Yeah.
So I sold my company in 2020, started directory full time. I've been doing it for 5 years. I recommend 540 roofers today on the platform. So we would Aegis List used to be like if I give a recommendation, if you come to me and say, Dmitry, I need a roofer, not only I'm gonna give you a recommendation, but if you hire a roofer, I recommend if he fucks up, I'm gonna write a check. And we wrote so far 12 claims. So like if my roofer messes up, I'm gonna come and write a check. Or if he files bankruptcy and you get a lien, like Dmitry, you recommended me a roofer, I'm gonna go and fix it. So pretty much I always been going after the biggest problems I've seen. I love roofing business. It's all great. My company's still in business. Actually, they're from my roofing company. We have 3 companies in Minneapolis now. So it's actually a company that I sold. My production manager went to found his company, and my sales rep also started his company. They're all on directory.com. We all talk and we still networking. The company's still in business. So I love it. I love the culture I built. I brought a lot of people in the business. But I went to do something else that I have passion about.
Yeah, and I love that.
A
If
lot of them.
somebody's in the roofing space, or is it just roofing that you recommend or other contractors?
We have every category. I always say that roofing for me, it's what books used to be for Amazon. Like it's my first category, something that I understand, I have influence in, and people understand. And it's also the biggest category. But we this year we focus on gutter contractors. We're trying to add more and more gutter contractors. We have window companies. Our biggest traffic is Google because to build a category, you have to build SEO, you have to do ads. I mean, we'll recommend anyone. So if a homeowner comes to us and they need a remodeler, we'll find a remodeler or a flooring guy. We'll find everyone. But because of my background, it's just the biggest category.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. If you're a roofer or a remodeler in this case and you want to get on directory, how do you, I mean, that's a pretty simple process.
Yeah, you just go to directory.com, start application. We do background check, full background check, and it's true background check. And a lot of people get flagged. And if you get flagged, you'll get a call with me because I list many contractors who did not pass background check because they have the resistant to arrest or drug
Right.
issues 5 7 years ago. Like if you have cocaine in your car 6 months ago and you just got out of jail, we might give you another year. But if it's 10-year-old charge, we just want to hear your story because if let's say I recommend you and someone calls us like, do you know you have a felon on your website? I know every story is like, yeah, so what? I talked to him, I trust him, we gave him a second chance, right?
Right.
We're the company of second chance. So, but true background check, true financial check, we take tips, we take leads. Like, for example, if someone calls us, say, hey, this guy is not paying his bills, he's probably going to file bankruptcy. We're going to start investigating, might maybe remove you from the platform. If I find out that my company, who I recommend, is not paying ABC Supply or not paying their
Yes.
sales reps,
Mhm.
immediately red flag. We're going to stop recommending them quickly. But in the beginning, we'll do that homework.
Yeah. No, I love that, man. I think that's super smart. And I think, one thing I talk about a lot is you're right. The roofing industry is a huge space. And I can't help but think that the insurance restoration part of it is what just caused this thing to go into hyperdrive. It's just what I would argue that insurance roofing or roofing in general is one of, if not the most saturated industries and probably in the United States. It used to be, in my opinion, solar, but I think roofing's well surpassed that. Would you agree? And what do you think the big reason is behind that? I have my own and opinions, but would you agree that the roofing industry is one of, if not the most saturated industries in the market? And what are your thoughts on the insurance? I mean, I come from a retail background. I did do it myself to diversify, just as you said, because frankly, I was like, why are people doing this? I could not conceptualize. To me, it seemed like there's no way you make money. You know what I mean? Because I come from a retail background where you charge X amount and it's this margin and that's what it is, right? Versus a middleman that's going to dictate that. It just seemed like, how would you make money in that? But I saw everyone doing it, so I wanted to learn and diversify, and we did well. I would say it's definitely certainly changed and gotten way harder. But I'm so thankful I come from a retail background. So I know I loaded you up in questions there, but I'd say
That's all.
first question would be, do you agree that this market is as saturated as I think it is? And what's your opinion on the overall just insurance restoration boom and the differences between insurance and retail?
So number one, it is saturated, but every house has a roof. So if you look in general, so there's a $60 billion industry, right? Is it saturated? Yes, it is, but only to the point. If you have 3,000 roofing contractors in your town, you're competing with three. Homeowner is going to get three estimates. So they're not going to do 100. So I never let that get into my head. Yes, you want to get to the top. So the reason it's saturated because of the profit margins. If you look at other businesses like restaurant business, if you look at remodelers, a remodeling company or GC who does 3 5 million a year, their profit margin is like 3 4 5% at the best, like very tiny. Like we have gross profit margin like 30 40%, right? And everybody knows it. So profit margins attract people. That's number one. Number two, we have a shitty products. So if you look at the quality of roofing in the United States, life expectancy of asphalt shingle roof is 15 years, right?
Yep.
So for that reason, you can, you, you can bet on it that every 10, 15 years, you're going to have billions and billions of work out there. And three, why insurance? Because insurance company has the deepest pockets and they pay a lot. So now look at other industry. Look at Morgan and Morgan. Look at insurance companies who pays out. Look at the millionaires and even billionaires who bill insurance companies in the medical field, like big pharma, right? Look at the hospitals who mainly work for insurance companies. They don't do a lot of retail. So because there's a big party who is like, treat them as a big buyer. So if you learn how to work with a big buyer who always writes a check, you can be very wealthy. Like I recently watched the interview with Morgan and Morgan. They're casualty lawyers, or casual whatever, like ambulance chasers. Like we're storm
Mhm.
chasers, they're ambulance chasers. So they spend $400 million a year on advertising and marketing, but they do $2 billion in business every year, and it's
Wow.
very profitable. So, like suing insurance companies is profitable, dealing with insurance companies in the roofing space is profitable. Now, unlike popular belief, if you actually look at the numbers, and I know this for a fact, if you study the market and you talk to suppliers, manufacturers, like shingle manufacturers, majority of the market is actually retail. The
Mm.
commercial, like the insurance claims, is actually less. So it's more than 60% is still a retail. There's a lot of way, way more roofers doing a retail work than insurance. The problem with the insurance claims and storm chasers, it just sounds bigger because that's what you see on the news. That's what you see on social media. That's what you
Yes.
that's what gives birth to like your bigger players per se. But listen, I've traveled to over 200 companies in the country, and I can tell you that we have so many companies like that are retail and use insurance as a supplement to their income. They're more retail than their insurance. So nothing is what it seems on outside. Like in a virtual reality on social media, if you go to Win the Storm conference, it will feel like 90% of roofers are doing it because storm chasers go there, right? But if you
Yeah.
go to other events and if you travel the country in a lot of smaller pockets, you're gonna find out that there's so many roofers that only do retail. So
Mm.
retail is bigger than insurance. Market is saturated, but you're still competing with one or two or three roofers. People not gonna get 30 estimates. They're gonna get three estimates. So that's your competition. Just be one of the three and be decent and impress people that with your presence and your estimate, your presentation to earn their business.
No, I love that. And you actually bring up an excellent point. I was talking to a friend of mine about this the other day. I have mentors here locally in Maryland, both of whom actually that's not true. One is full on insurance restoration, but they're not on stages like that. I mean, Adam may do talks here and there, but he's not. Why do you think there's such a bigger platform or so many more? And I think a lot of them are those microwave influencers that you were talking about. Is it because of perhaps the nature of the that microwave success model that insurance restoration can provide because it's a low bar for entry? I mean, you can get out there with retail, you'd have to have capital. You'd have to be prepared to pay for leads and it's all upfront risk versus, insurance restoration, you could go out relatively small and it's back end risk. But is that why you think you see so many more insurance restoration like
I
folks on social media and on stages?
I think it's because of the social media. It's no difference than anything else on social media. It's promise of instant success It's a promise of the shortcut and promise of get rich fast. That's what attracts people. And when you have that, also look at YouTube, look at social media. What do you also see? You see a lot of alpha males selling courses, how to be successful and how to, your Wets Watsons and right. So this is society. So we have a lot of people who abuse, population, promising them skies, and which is in a storm restoration industry. I think here's what took place over the past 15, 20 years. You have a lot of guys who worked one, two storms, made a lot of money super quick. So truly got rich fast, not always ethically, not always doing things right. They come in, they knock 100 doors, they got 100 checks. Now they're like, look at me, I made, $300,000 in 4 months. I can teach you how to do it, right? Is it repeatable? No. Is it scalable? No. Are you going to be able, like even you, the person who's teaching me this, are you guaranteed that you're going to have the same results next year? No. Storms are not guaranteed markets. You have a lot of these recipes that has to, but those people who've done it, they want to believe that they know how to and they can teach you how to, so they want to go on a stage. They want, so it's instant success. It's almost like, look at me, look what I've done, I can teach you, because now they're looking also for their next big shortcut, get rich scam, to enrich them, but they
Hmm.
selling this dream to you. And it's kind of true. Yeah, you kind of made money. Like, listen, I've been in business for 7 years. I've never like I grew from $900,000 to $4 or $5 million, right? So my company grew every single year. I never left my town. I never went anywhere. So I can teach people how to build,
Mm.
$5, $10 million company. You can help others. There's no problem with it. But if I would be in the business over one storm, I don't think I would qualify to do that.
Right.
Right? Like like if you want to teach fitness, you always have to be fit. You can't be like, okay, at 18, I have six pack. Let me show you how to do it. Like, where's your six
Right.
pack now? Right?
Right.
Like, that's what's happening in the industry. That's what I think triggered all of this. And that's why we see more of it online, because real success often quiet. Real money
Yes.
likes quiet. And it's fake and quick and easy. That's loud. Everybody sees it. Well, the same, like, look at the filters we use. There's no difference
Mhm.
than, pretty girls on Instagram and Facebook. Everybody's pretty online.
Yeah.
You meet a
Yeah.
person, it's like, oh, I've been catfished.
Yeah, right. No, that's an awesome point, man. I think you're absolutely right. It makes total sense. I never even really thought about the parallels. It's like, hey, they go out and the area that they're in gets hit with a massive storm, and next thing you know, they're incredibly successful because of 1 year, but they've never. But the year before that, they did 2 million. You know what I mean? And they've never done more than 2 million. But all of a sudden, they're this thing here, and they want to tell you all about it. In fact, they want to teach you how to do it, and the customer is just as excited to get the same instant microwave results as the microwave guy is promising. So it's kind of like, just this perpetuating cycle of microwave success. I really didn't consider that, but that's
But that's
probably,
exactly what's happening, and it's
yeah,
like that instant thing. It's not long lasting. It's not
no,
businesses. We all know you have to be consistent. You have to work hard. You have to give it time. Nothing comes overnight. Like your overtime success probably is going to take 10 years in the
yeah,
making. Nothing grows fast, and if you're
yeah,
looking for quick and easy way to make money, stay out of roofing, because
yes,
it takes time to build a brand, to build a reputation, to build a team, and people who teach it that you can do. I mean, they cannot do it. That's why how many storm chasers, they've done 50, 60, $100 million now nowhere to be found.
right, a lot,
They chase, yeah, a lot. Why is that? If you're so successful and you build it to $100 million, where are you today? Why?
right.
Because it's not sustainable.
No, no, it's not. I mean, and I I couldn't agree with you more there, man. I mean, I myself am trying to pursue. I'm very vocal about that at our company. I want my people to be able to invest in that, literally. not literally like them paying, but them being able to get equity propositions within the company because, private equity is gobbling up roofing companies and they are interested. And I think it's a lucrative thing. I mean, I think you yourself sold your business. So to be able to entertain that, or at very least to have that option and to open that up to my people, I think is a good thing. However, here on the East Coast, we're not in a storm market. They're not really looking for, I've spoken to several of them, like they want retail because we're not in a store market and it's not sustainable. Like that's the first thing they told me. It's like, hey, that's cool, but if you do any, we want to see it more like 50-50 at most, right? Because we need the sustainability. That's what we're in. Or we value retail more. So I think you make an excellent point. And my mentors that do the retail that have been in business for 20, 30 years, some of the top 25 remodeling magazine companies or the CEO of the owner, you'd never know. They're very, very humble, quiet, powerful, and when they speak, everyone listens. But they're not out there, yo, 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 look at me, blah, 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 because they don't care, because they don't need to, because they're got their hands in. I mean, one of them, their building they own is probably 6 or 7 companies, and they all piggyback off one another, commercial financing. Now they do financing, right? Because now, hey, you're not an enemy of mine or a competitor. I can offer you financing, right? It's just brilliant. I think they've done an excellent job in that, sort of like what you've done with your app and what you've been able to do. I think that's amazing. And speaking of which, you've really taken roofing and taking that American dream to another level. You piggybacked off of selling the business to the app, which is your main business, to even making products. Can you tell us a little bit about your underlayment product that you have on the market? I saw that.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm in the roofing space. I'm extremely focused, but we're one of the bigger media companies. So Roofing Insights has a YouTube channel. So I have a couple sponsors over the years. When you make content, think about any television or radio. You rely on good products, good ads to sponsor your show. Otherwise, like content costs a lot of money. I have full-time videographers. So over the years, I've promoted a lot of cool products, but I always wanted to have my own. And 3 years ago, I have this guy from China, actually a Russian guy, who moved from. I'm from Siberia. I came to the United States. He's from Siberia, engineer, moved to China, Shanghai, started working for a roofing manufacturers, like literally engineering the products we install here. And he had a dream. So he's been coming to United States for International Roofing Expert every year for many, many years. Fluent Russian, fluent English, fluent Chinese. So he was coming here and having the dream to work to bring product here to build something. So he approached me. We scheduled a call like 3 years ago. He said, Dmitry, let's go in the business because when I see how much they sell underlayments, I can't believe that you have 5, 6 people in the middle. So pretty much we sell product that GF or SRS or Atlas sell for $80. Same product, literally sometimes made at the same factories. We sell for half the price. So he reached me, said, let's do it. We started the business. I'm co-owner of the business and my media channel because I've been on YouTube for 8 years. All my first customers already trust me. So it's easy for me to sell a container for $60,000. People know I'm gonna not screw them because they know my integrity and my first customers came easy and now they keep buying from me, keep reordering. We have ice and water manufacturer in Canada that we import from. So I have 3 products: ice and
Oh,
water,
wow. Okay.
yeah, ice and water, high temperature, and synthetic. You can put your logo on it. It's half the price anything you buy, and it's like quality is one of the best. So my partner knows every glue, everything that goes into it. So he's responsible for quality. I'm responsible for marketing and branding, bringing to the market, and
Sure.
our third partner, responsible for logistics. So 3 partners, amazing business. We already sold a couple $1 million of products. No complaints. People love it. We save roofers pretty much 100%. So if you buy,
Wow.
at $10,000, I'll save you $10,000.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well,
Just made sense. Made sense. I need a tangible product to put behind me, and now I have it.
yeah, I think that's brilliant, man. And you're right. It does cost My videographer was shaking his head when we've been the last 2 years. Like this stuff costs a lot of money. You know what I mean? So I
People don't
know.
realize it, but it costs a
Yeah.
lot of money.
And we don't have anything like that yet, but maybe if I get as smart as you, I might start leveraging some things like that. Well, you also have to get the brand that someone wants to invest in. We actually, I think we're like knocking on the door. We got our very first sponsor offer because of the podcast, an inquiry into sponsorship. They wanted to see some of our numbers and stuff, but I thought that was pretty cool. So maybe we're like knocking
And
on the
I
door.
want to give you very quick advice too. So I did not monetize anything for the first 3 years. So I recommended like pretty much I started podcast and YouTube channel 2017, 2018. My first like I've done tons of free tutorials for the first 3 years until I have 30,000 subs. I didn't ask $1 from anyone. But I would do like for example, Job Nimbus, my CRM. I've done tutorials. I recommended products left and right. I would go to Expo and stop by every booth, give everybody free publicity. And then after 3 years, I'm like, you know what? We're gonna start monetizing. I came to Job Nimbus to say, would you sponsor my show? I already have been promoting for. They're like immediately, like yes, I already brought so much value to that brand. I didn't have to prove myself. My advice though for anybody listening, don't monetize too early because when I see people doing a podcast like second, third episode and they go like, this podcast is brought to you. Thank you, our sponsor. Thank you, sponsors. You're gonna get 15 views. What value do you bring? You scammed your sponsor because there's no value to them, right? You have to bring value. It's money exchange. So if someone sponsor my channel, my average platform that I endorse get like 50 leads per month, wherever their space is, because of my audience, right? So they have to have good side of the deal too. And I see a lot of people just going into media production thinking about money and fame. That will come, but you have to build your brand first.
I think that's excellent advice. And piggybacking off of that theme in terms of providing value, Dmitry, what would be, I asked this, and I know your time is incredibly valuable. Excuse me, and we're kind of coming up against it. I always ask all of our guests this: if you were to impart words of wisdom, a quote, a thought of, hey, roofing folks, right? Or even entrepreneurs, right? Because you've gotten bigger than that. Let's be real. What would that be? That piece of advice you want to be remembered for, that key piece of advice or statement that you have for our audience that's just a value-driven punch in the face. Do you have anything that comes to mind?
I would say stop procrastinating. If you have an idea, act on it today.
Mm,
Everyone has ideas. I have tons of ideas. If I have something today, like for example, if I think like, oh, I should make a video about it, you know what? I'm gonna go in immediate. I'm gonna go change, do my hair, and I'm gonna go record it because tomorrow that idea is gonna leave my head. We're all busy. We all get distracted. We all have families. If I can do something today, if I have an idea today, act on it. You know how
mm,
many people told me it's like, oh, I have idea of this app or I have this. Like, if you have an idea, just go and start it. If you think about starting a podcast, start tomorrow. I meet so many roofers every day. Is like, oh, I know I'm not active on social media. I should do more. I'm like, brother, do you have YouTube channel? No, not yet. It's in the plans. It's in the works. What are you waiting for? Life is so short. Time goes so fast. If you know it's good for you, go and start. And once you start doing it, be consistent. Never. If you think you need to exercise, go join the gym and never quit. So make the freaking decision. Stop procrastinating. Make
mm.
that phone call. If you need to raise capital, start. Like for example, I've never raised capital in my life, like for my business, right? So this year I decided, you know what? I'm gonna raise capital. I booked a trip to a very busy conference with Patrick Bet-David. By September, this is just my goal. I wrote it, I said, I'm going to pitch to 10 people to invest in my company. I need to raise $2 million. I've never done it, but I'm not going to sit and wait for someone to come in and offer me money. I know I need to meet 10 people and make a decision who's going to make me the best offer, but I have to act. And I have this 3 months plan set in stone. There's so many people who are just waiting and waiting and waiting for opportunity. You know what? If you want to start a business, quit the job and start the business tomorrow. I started a business when I have 4 kids and $2,000 to my name. And I
Mm.
moved from one state to another and I started a freaking business. It's easy, but with that mentality, it's all or nothing. Stop waiting and procrastinating.
I love that, man. That's if you can't get fired up with that, I don't know what to tell you. But I will say this: I can't help but notice the theme between me and all of my friends that are friends are like first or second generation immigrants. I feel like there's a little bit of like if you're from here, you get to spoil a little bit of laziness. I don't know. I don't know what it is, man, but it drives me freaking nuts and it's bullshit because this still is like you said, the land of opportunity. Nothing's perfect. There's a bunch of bullshit that pisses everybody off, but this is still a place where you can go, you can build with 4 kids, not knowing anything about anything, and look where you're at now. So like there literally is no excuse. I
It's
just wanted to throw that out there.
talking about pissing off. Like I lost $200,000 in my underlayment business because of Trump's tariff
Tariffs.
stuff.
Yeah.
Guess what? I'm gonna adapt. I'm gonna come out. I lost money. Everybody, all my competitors lost money. If I'm gonna sit here like, oh, let's move to another country. Oh, this is BS. Oh, I did not vote for it. I don't care. We will figure it out.
There
It's
you
still
go.
the greatest country on earth. Like stuff happens, inflation happens. But you know what? Go to Colombia, go to Russia, go to Europe. You think it's better there? You need go to China. Try to build business in China. You think they have it better there? With
Right.
everything we have, we still have it better than the rest of the world. I guarantee you.
I love it. I love it. Look, he was getting ready to go off too, man. I love it. I love it. Look, I have the absolute pleasure of flying out next week and getting to see Dimitri and being on his podcast. So I will keep your time as valuable as I know it is short. Uh,
I have time. If you have
do
more
you
questions,
really? What'd you block off
I
for me?
love this.
Okay.
I enjoy this.
I am, dude. I'm with it, man. Look, if you're gonna give me a few more moments, dude, I'm gonna take them
Take
because there
your
was
time.
something.
I have nowhere to be right now. This is the last thing of the day, and I'll be here another hour if you have more questions.
Well, there was one thing I wanted to bring up.
Hmm.
So I wanted to talk about look, everybody knows in the roofing industry because it was a very talked about thing that everybody threw out there, man. The whole you and Lee boxing match thing, man. Like, where the hell did that come from? Because, I didn't even know at the time. I knew your YouTube stuff. I didn't even connect that that was you until I'm like, oh shit, it was you. You know what I mean? I'm like, where the hell did that come from? Whose idea with that was that? Like, was it for charity? What was that even all about? What happened?
No, it was not for charity. It was driven by my opponent, ego. So Lee Haight called me out. So pretty much, I've interviewed Lee Haight total of 4 times, and over the years, it's like 2017, 2018. But then he keeps going down the hill. So like he used to run way smaller operation, and as he grew, I'm a media producer. I cannot be biased. Like if someone comes to me and say, "Hey, I work for the crew," like I have to give everybody stage and everybody opportunity to answer. So people who used to work for Lee Haight started after I interviewed him, start coming to me, exposing him. Hey, Dmitry, he's doing this, he's doing that. So I would give them opportunity to speak. So the way the beef started, he has an employee, very toxic employee too. Like it's not like I'm sided with her. If you watch the interview, you'll see I'm calling her out, I'm stopping her, right? But she came to me and said, I work for Lee Haight. Lindsay Douglas was her name, and he's a crook. I have access to his books. He's committing fraud, like worst accusations. Like I want to expose him, and I want to do podcast. So we actually did interview in her office, if lawyer's office in Texas. It was convenient. We met up. So I interviewed her, and immediately within a week, I interviewed him. So she accused him. We did a podcast, and then I flew to him on my dime, let
Wow.
him answer, right? But he got so pissed that I interviewed her, even though I did not say anything. So she was calling him a Ponzi scheme and this and that. And she is the one who was a top ranked employee, like access to the QuickBooks, access to everything, right? So I flew to him, and that's where he started like, I want to fight you. Like he actually jumped me. We went to the restaurant. He got drunk, and after he got drunk, for the first time like, why don't you fight me? Like I'm like, dude, come on, like this is not how I do it. Like I'm always cool and collected. Unless you hit me, you cannot provoke me to fight you. I'm not like I'm way above that. I have 5 kids. Like I'm not picking up
Right.
bar fights, right? But he wanted to fight me, and that's where beef really started. But then there are more people who, got screwed by him with the stories with very similar. So we did like several interviews. Anyway, so we started having this beef, and then he always wanted to speak at my conference. I'm like, dude, I know my audience, nobody wants to listen. So he was keep inviting me to speak at his conference, and he wanted to speak at mine. Let's do it. I'm like, no, like I'll interview, we'll do the podcast, and every podcast we did, we were butted heads. But I'm great at interviews. Like you can call me names. At the interview that I did, like he would call me like cocksucker, and he has a temper.
Yes, he
I'm,
does.
I'm fine with it. Like I'm not afraid of you. You can call me like, I guess I was exposing he even being in like if I would ask him tough question, he would get extremely uncomfortable. He's coaching. He charged like $60,000, and I know victims. I know people who paid him 60 grand within 2 days want to cancel because they feel like being scammed. So I would ask him, why do you think you're worth 60 grand? Why do you think you're worth $5,000 for one call? Right. And he's like, I'm this big. Anyway, and then we start seeing he's lying online on YouTube. So I made a video of Lee Heath is a fake guru, right? So actually, we like to this day, Lee Heath never ever proved that he was not lying. Like, I mean, he literally, like you can see it on the YouTube, he would knock at the door, say, I'm the owner of the sixth largest company in the United States, Lee Heath, with $100 million company. No, you're not. You're not even $50 million. Like, and why? I don't understand why. Or like he would go on a private jet, is like, I have $1 million a week payroll. I'm like, dude, your payroll at most, 50 grand. Like, just stop, right? So I did my investigation. I call him out, like line number one, line number two, line number three. So of course he wanted to fight me because there's nothing he can say. He hired a lawyer. I'm like, okay, so where did I lie? What's fake? Like you go lie on a YouTube video. Like he made video how I made 10 multimillionaires. I called every single person. Not a single person from that video gives him credit. It's like, no, like I would never hire him again. Not only they are not giving him credit, they would not work with him, right? So what do you do with that? Like it, but it's your problem. It's not my
Right,
problem.
right,
You
right.
brought it to yourself. So now
Why
he's
would you make those videos, dude? I just don't get it, man. But
exactly. So, and I called him out. It was cool video, and so he got really pissed, and he's like, "You're gonna fight me." Like, so he offered me. He said, "I'll give you $60,000 if you fight, if you stay 3 rounds against me." I'm like, and he said, I'll come to your house and beat you up in front of your kids if you don't agree. I'm like, you know what? Done deal. Done deal. But he's in Tampa, I'm in Minneapolis. Let's go to Atlanta in the middle and let's do it. So we agreed, and I prepared for like 4 months. We went there, kicked his ass, and the rest is history. So he
yeah.
blocked me after that, and never ever I heard from him again. And he tells people he did not lose. He got gas out. He just got tired of beating me up.
I
That
thought that he got. I thought I heard he got knocked out or knocked down. Is that
Yeah,
true?
he it got stopped. I got TKO. He could not stand on his legs. He has wobbly legs. He could not move anymore. The funny part is I'm a CrossFitter, right? I've never did any combat training and stuff. I trained for this one, so I hired boxing coach, and I did well. I'm proud of my result, but. He was making fun of my CrossFit, and this is how I won. I was the only, if you watch me and him at the results, like how I breathe, and I'm standing up, I'm ready to go, I'm recovered, and he's like, he's dead because he was making fun of me for entire time. Like, oh, you think CrossFit is gonna help you? You know what? It did help me
Yeah.
because I'm like 10 times more fitter than you in every sport possible. Yeah, you have 4 years or 5 years of combat training on me, but that did not help you.
Right. That didn't help in this instance. That's got to be even worse, actually. That 4 or 5 years of combat training. Guy trains for
Exactly.
4 months and you get TKO'd.
But
Oh,
he
that's
got
got to
what
be.
he deserved. He got what he deserved. It was a highlight for me. I actually wanted to fight someone. It was on my bucket list. I was telling my wife, like, hey, before I die, I want to have a cage fight, even like 10 years before the Lee Hates fight. So it was always on my bucket list. But now I have this opportunity. Like when someone comes in and like, I mean, what would you do if someone says, hey, I'm gonna fight you in front of your kids. I'll spit
Yeah.
in your face. You will fight me regardless. So I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
can't go anywhere because this guy is at every expo, every conference. I did not have any other choice but
Right.
face the fear and not face the fear, but face the bully and just go prove my point. And I
I
did.
love it, man. I understand. You're right. He's, I
Oh,
just can't.
I want to show you something really quick. So
Yes,
Martin
please.
Pettigrew, owner of Monarch Roofing, sent me this after the fight. So 1 week. So NFC, the league that we were fought, they did a podcast with me, and in that podcast, I said this phrase. So the guy asked me how did it go or something, and I said I'm up the floor with my blood in the first round, and I said the phrase. So this is the picture that was taken from the fight.
Yeah.
He was actually like he was on the ground like 4 times. I knocked him down in the second round. It was 8 count, and the third round, and he. So he took this picture, he put that quote of me, and he sent me as a gift. So I have it in my office now. So Martin Pettigrew loves his gifts.
That's awesome, man. And you know what? It's got to be an excellent feeling, man. Good for you. I've spoken to him a few times, and I'm not, I'm just it's a elephant in the room that I'd be a fool not to bring up because everyone talks about it, man. I didn't even know, you know what I mean? I knew about it before I knew who it even was because it's like two relevant names in the roofing space are fighting. It's like what on what are we doing now? We're cage fighting now. So like
We
that
have a
was
lot of hate. It was really weird in the beginning. In the beginning, people like, oh, this is stupid. What does it prove? And I tell people, listen, it doesn't have to prove anything. Yes, I'm a personality. I'm a leader, I have a YouTube channel, but it like I still want to do what I want to do with my life. I have 2 boys and I felt like I could not say no. You can criticize me, you can say it's stupid. Like I did not try to prove the point. Like I did not try to say like I'm a better man or this and that. I did like people, how people think about MMA in general. Oh, this is stupid. Yes, maybe it was stupid, but as a man,
yes.
I made the right decision. And honestly, for 2 of my boys, it was the best decision ever. My kids still, not only my kids, but everybody in their school talk about it because everybody watched that is like, your dad is awesome because I stood up for myself. And
Yes.
when I came home, my kids will never forget that. And this
Mm.
is what you teach, but you don't teach by saying those words. I
No.
actually did it.
Yeah. Good for you, man. I love that. Your sons and your family getting to see, like, no, man, like they saw what you were going through. I think that's awesome. That's got to be an awesome feeling,
And
man.
a
And
lot of people in the industry wanted to see it too. I would argue way more people than some critics who are like, saints or nicer guys. Like you know what? Like most people wanted to see it. I would like to see someone. If you ever fight and I know you, I would like to see it. You know what I mean?
yeah, of course, man, 100%. And I just don't get, man, well, first of all, before we move on, did you get paid 60 grand?
No.
No. Oh.
What do you expect from fake person? I mean, like even later we found out. I mean, the guy is like $5 million in debt. He cannot
Oh,
pay his
Lord.
bills. His attorney general suing them and his companies that he's involved with for not returning homeowners money. Like he's in so much trouble in Florida, in Connecticut. I mean, his judgments against him for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like there's so many legal issues. He has a lot to worry about it. It would be I would argue the best decision he could make is to pay me to prove he's not a fake guru, right? Like when you run your mouth like that, like honor your word. for, for the first time
Yeah.
in your life, right? Save your face. Like, okay, I lost. I'm gonna do the right thing, but not being able to pay 60 grand because you don't have the money. Actually, his assistant, his right hand, reached out right after the fight, offered me to pay to their charity, to their choice of charity. I said, you know what? That's not the deal. It's not your business what I do. I can give it to the charity, but it will be my charity, not your charity. I don't give a crap about it. And they were trying to tweak it. And then after I said no, they blocked me and they moved on. But what a scam back. Like he just proved his character.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't disagree if you make that big of a fuss about it and you pay up, and it's just I don't understand this industry's obsession, but I suppose it's just the not just the industry, but social media in general. Just it gives you this platform to prop up. It's not just this industry. Actually, there's a whole Baller Busters is a website or a I guess you would call it a website. It's a social media site, and I actually was a big fan of like what they were doing, and I still am. But they kind of like said some stuff about Patrick Bet David I just don't agree with, and I suppose I don't have to agree with everything. But my point is, the reason that those things exist is because there's so many of these like all right, I'm gonna just prey on this innate need for that folks that make money want to make more of it, and the promise of making it really quick and easy, and that just doesn't exist. Like uh, you got all these guys that go work out for 5 minutes and rent a Lamborghini and say that they're gonna coach you. Like that's my biggest thing is coaching. That's why like I refuse to you know, I I've had a consulting company, and I'm going to be honest with you. Ironically, the reason I started it way back when was the company I worked for hired Lee, and I saw Sky Diamonds. I never met Lee. I just they were showing us these videos, and I'm like, I can do this. No disrespect at all. I'm just being
Yeah.
serious. Like I'm watching it, and I'm like, hey, all right, you make videos, you edit the videos. I've been in this industry at the time for like 15 years. I could do this, and I was tired of working for people that, they couldn't pay their bills that week because it's the same thing that I experienced. Same thing you did with bankruptcy. My check wasn't there on Friday because, meanwhile, he's driving a literal Bentley, Gucci backpack, and can't pay his installers or his people. So I said the same thing. I'll never work for anyone else ever again. And I started a company with a partner, but first I started the consulting company and the partnership, unfortunately, the business is great. Partnership, I learned a lot of valuable lessons about partnerships, and I'll leave it at that. And I had to start all over again with this company, and I've been very blessed with some amazing people. But I still like the consulting stuff. I just take one or two clients on. I didn't do any last year because I paid a whole bunch of money to coaches. I said you got to focus on the main thing, and so I did. But I only took like one or two on when I did, and I would only do it if it made sense. Like if you did solar and I wanted to teach you, if you wanted to learn from solar to insurance restoration, that's an easy parallel for me to teach with my team because I have the team to do it. But that's pretty much it. Then it was if you have insurance restoration, you want to learn retail, same thing, right? I've been doing that for eons. That was originally when I started. But other than that, I can't really teach you anything. I don't know it. You know what I mean? Like I don't. That's it. That's it. I can't teach you what I don't know. Why do you think so many of these guys pop up and they're coaches? Like there's no KPIs. There's no what do I get for my money? It's just like, I'm going to coach you. You're going to give me 10 grand. I'm going to be your coach. Like what is the measurable that dictates that is even successful? And I've paid. I've done it. Lots of money. And I'm like, what am I doing, man? I don't know. Like, did that work? I don't know. What do you think that's all about?
I think, well, big egos more than anything is big egos. If you look at the Wes Watson,
Yeah, dude,
there's so many of
Jesus.
them. They're all the same. It's alpha male. It's I'm bigger than you. I'm better than you. I can teach you how to be like me for $2,000 a month, right? And if you don't succeed, it's pretty much here's what I see that Lee Haight has in common with Wes Watson. They actually collaborated. I find it very funny. But here's what they have in common. And I've heard it how they deal with the disputes later. They will always blame you for not having results. So they look at me, look how big I am, how successful I am. I will teach you, I will show you the way. If it doesn't work, you are the problem. I actually have heard so one guy from Atlanta gave Lee Hit, small guy, like $1 million, 1.5 million, gave him 60 grand. The guy comes into the first Zoom call, said there's literally Zoom call, and Lee is literally asking people what do they think, and so he's asking advice of anything, and it's a very common theme with him. So imagine you gave someone 60K, and he's asking someone else like, "What do you think about it?" I don't know, right? So he goes like, "What the heck is this? This is not what I pay. I want my money back. This is not what I signed up for. You promised me this, this, and this. I'm not getting it, right?" And Lee said, if you tell people like I'm not, there's no money back. If you gotta make fuss about it, I'll tell everyone that you are not coachable roofer. That's like his word. And they all do the same thing. Wes Watson does the same thing. They will bully you. They are bullies. They feel like there's no difference like bully at a high school, like, hey, give me a phone, give me a cash, give me right. But now they do it semi-legally. There's no deliverables. I would say that their job is to find a sucker who will be impressed by what they have, to trick him to give them $1, and then after that bully him for whatever. Like it's very sad. It's very
Yeah.
sad what's taking place. But I some people can sleep at night when they don't deliver value. I can't. If you
Right.
like, listen, we have a guy right now. He purchased underlayment from us. His underlayment is orange, and we showed him a proof with the white letters. His logo should be white, right? But when it got like on the proof, it looked really good. It's a $13,000 order. He's in Pennsylvania, so we ship him underlayment. He receives it, and he sent us picture from the roof. The white pigment on the orange background does not look good, does not stand out. You barely can see it, right? And so I talked to my partner. He's like, typical problem. It's just on the paper, it looked good. It stand out. And I called the guy. I said, you know what? It's my mistake. Like, this is not acceptable. You paid for your logo to stand out. And my partner actually said we should tell them that this is common problem. The logo should be black on orange versus white on orange. I'm like, yeah, but we did not tell him this, and we show him the proof where it stands out. He's like, yeah, but it's very common problem. I'm like, did we tell him it's a common problem? And I told him, I'm gonna get you another 4 pallets at my cost. I will not sleep at night. He is my customer. I'm telling you this right now, these fake gurus will never do anything like that because that's
Right.
my profit margins are 10% on this. So I made $1,300 on $13,000 order, and I'm gonna pay another $13,000 for another order. And I guarantee you, I will save this customer for life, and that's going to be my name and my reputation,
Yeah.
because I'm a service-driven business owner, and these fake gurus and alpha males, wherever, they just ego-driven. It's all about me. It's all about It's all about look at me and how much I can extort people for. Like that. That's how they operate.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, unfortunately, man, like I said, not any of them directly have I given money to, but some of the bigger names. And look, you know what I mean? I even knew I'm not gonna, because I think, I like him personally. Some of the bigger names I've spent money with, I knew what I was getting into at that point in time. That okay, I kind of get it now. It's more proximity, and I leverage that. Like okay, well I'll get on their podcast. I'll get this. Maybe network. At the time, I knew that. He's got a big group. Somebody I think we talked about before, but so I didn't see that as like, oh, he took anything like a scam, because I knew like, hey, this is. I'm probably not going to get any like life changing. I don't know, because there is no measurable. There literally isn't. That is what I have a hard time with. I'm like, okay, but I knew at that point I had already had it happen a couple times where I was. But what was I doing? I don't know, looking to shrink the line from A to Z. I was trying to, I was wanting to be around the people that seemed cool and replicate that. Honestly, probably, you know what I mean? Like, well, that's where I want to be, so I want to do that. How can you teach me how to do that, right? And a lot of that seems a lot less cool when you get into what it really is, because a lot of times it's a facade, and it's not long term. I know some good friends of mine now that are doing these things that are legit and that are doing that, and maybe they just want to build a brand like you, and this is what I want to do in the future. I always wanted to be somebody. And I don't mean to say that in any other sense of like, to me, like the sales world series or the sales professional top is like the guys that write the books and that are on like social media or TV. That might not even be true. That's just what I perceived way back when I was like first getting into sales, like Zig Ziglar and those guys. I'm talking older. Well, you're about my age, right? Like, so back then, and then it was Grant Cardone, and then it was, and so like those guys, I'm like, man, that's who I want to be, man. And, you know, I get it. And I still definitely have
Well,
a sense
what
of
all
that.
of those people have in common, and my advice to you is pick your lane. It should be one lane. You're going to be known usually for one or two things, and people going to hire you for that thing. So for me, my thing, I believe it's branding. I love branding and rebranding. We're rebranding like over 50 companies. You can be a YouTuber and teach people how to do YouTube. People will hire you for your expertise, but you have to identify what, like, if you're a sales coach, if you're mindset coach. There's coaches on it. Like you can be a dating coach, you can be a buddy, like, but once you figure out your lane, become number one in that. If you go to TikTok, you see, literally dating coaches, 6 apps coaches, even within the fitness industry, we have little niches, reaches in the niches. Like you can be a residential retail coach, like teach
Mm,
people how to do residential retail and become number one. Like, John Sinek, he's amazing. He just does one thing, how to work with insurance companies, how to
yeah.
add with adjusters, and people hire him for that. Adam Bensman, just sales coach. I'm a branding coach or content creator. I believe the content is marketing. I can teach anyone how to build solid YouTube channel, but I'm not a sales coach. And if you call me and say, Dmitry, can you teach me how to sell? Can I sell it? Yeah. But I'm a Rodney Webb guy. I'll probably send you to Rodney Webb or Adam Bensman before I take $1 from you to teach you how to sell. Now, if you say, just give it, I'll give you $1,000. Can you do a sales presentation for me? I'll do it. Like, I'm not gonna necessarily say no, but I'm gonna set up your expectations. This is how I sell, and I can teach you this, but I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. So
Right.
pick your lane, become number one in that lane, and you're gonna be very successful. And people will pay for it. 100% will, because there's so much. Like, especially this day and time, with like. To this day, I hire coaches all the time. If I have a problem today, like for example, my problem is directory.com. I'm redesigning homepage. So I'm interviewing people whose specialty is conversion. If I'm losing traffic, if my traffic is 1% and I want to do conversion 3%, I'm like, I want to find the best expert who can look at the homepage of my website, say, put this one here, because it's a tweaking. Now it's like I've done it for 5 years, and now I'm moving up a needle. And sometimes you hire a coach, he will give you advice, and maybe you'll pay $10,000 for 30 minutes of his time, but it will be worth it
Right.
because he is the best of the best.
Right. No, I agree, man. And they haven't all been, a total I'm NLP certified and all that. And I was interested in it. Did it have to happen that year? No, but it is really cool and I can apply it to my sales stuff. And everything that happened, everything I've done, everything that we've spent money on is all learning opportunities. As long as you can afford to just, okay, well, hey, I won't do that again. Or you know what, that was cool. What I thought I was going to get out of that, I didn't get out of it, but I got a great network, or I got access to this or this or this. There's always different ways to look at it. But what you said is brilliant. I was talking when you said that. I think that's precisely what we wanted to do is like, I don't know how to consult anything else. I think retail truly is the passion that I'm like, I enjoy doing it. I like doing it. I think there's a market for it. That's what I want to do. I think that's where we just lock in on, you know what I mean? Because even with insurance, that was my first client was a solar gentleman. Now I knew him. We were good friends and I knew I could teach him because I bring my team in because I can't teach you Xactimate. That's not my bag. But I have a guy on my team that can teach you Xactimate. You know what I mean? Like that's what he had. I hired him to do that. So like I'll pay him if you're paying me and you'll get him for that and I'll teach you what I can teach you on the business side and then my guy for this, my guy for this. For doors it's him, for this it's this. But for retail it's a similar situation, but I don't want to make this all about me. I think that's an excellent point, though, is focusing on that because we've paid a lot of coaches, and what did they say? The same thing he just said: riches are the riches and The riches are in niches, and then they added bitches, is what he added to it. Riches and niches, bitches. That's what he said. So, but it is true. I mean, and I have a hard time with that, man. I do. I want to bounce around. I want to be sales roof. I don't know, entrepreneur, and then I talk about my story a lot, because honestly, it's the easiest one to get. People like to hear that. You know what I mean? They like to hear that you came from this, or you were a drug guy, whatever. I prefer not to, but it usually gets pretty decent traction. I'd rather talk about other things. But anyhow, man, I really appreciate you taking so much time and frankly just being straight up, dude, and being candid. You know, that's rare. I am really looking forward to coming out and seeing you next. You got 4 kids, man. How old are these kids?
I have 5 kids. My oldest is
5 kids.
Yeah, my oldest is 17, my youngest is 10. So I have pretty much every year and a half, 2 years, we have a kid. Actually, I'm taking my youngest daughter to the soccer game in an hour. I'm teaching my oldest son, he's 15, and teaching his soccer team. So we have 2 games tomorrow. So I'm a soccer coach now. That's new to me this year. Yeah, very
What's on the horizon for Dimitri, man? What's left on the year? What's the future look like for you?
Directory.com 10-year plan. I'm trying to build billion-dollar companies. I'm going to the moon. I'm gonna try to find investors. I'm ready to invest. We're profitable, have been profitable for some time now. Just all go all in. Household help as many homeowners as possible. I have a radio show here in Minneapolis. I record every Tuesday. We just did show today. So local radio, going all in, helping as many
Right.
homeowners as possible, just building a brand, directory.com. And then in 10 years, I want to retire. I want to retire when I'm 50 from like everyday operation. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
If you would allow me, man, this last question, because you seem like me, and you seem like you have a lot going on, right? You got your hand here, your hand here, your hand here, your hand here. And as I said last year, I paid this. It was a couple coaches, but they're like, oh hey, hold on, man, like just stop all that. Even though that had always been how I operated. And to your point, every year we always, even in the last company, every year since I have been sober, which will be 8 years in August, the companies have gone up, up, up on never and revenue. Last year, I stopped everything else and I only focused on the roofing company. Guess what? We had our first down year in revenue ever, right? Now, there are other variables to consider. We started a new office. We removed a couple other, we removed solar, we did bathrooms, we stopped doing bathrooms. But still, I don't know that I would have done that. I didn't do things the way I normally did them. I stopped doing all the things. What do you have to say about? Because I think the same way you do. Life is short. I don't know if I'm going to be around in 10 years to be like, well, let me focus on this thing. Like, if it's not going to cost me this one, then I will try and do this and this, right? I'll take on 2 clients, but if it affects me negatively with Potomac, I won't do it. But what do you think about doing too many things? Do you subscribe to that theory, or what advice would you give on somebody who, wants to kind of do a radio show plus a podcast plus roofing plus this? Do you think that's too much, or do you think
Yeah.
different strokes,
Well,
different folks?
it's complementary. So there is a complementary stuff and there's a conflicting stuff. You can do anything, but you cannot do everything. You have to say no. The reason I sold my roofing business, could I grow it? Could I put people in place? Yes, but it's going to take your focus from here. I had the roofing process conference. We built in 5 years. I built it to 1,500 people. So very busy with, but every year it would take 3, 4 weeks to organize all team, all resources to do one event. So I sold my roofing process conference to Lance Beckman last year. The reason I sold it, and it was good for me, it was good for the business, but you can't be distracted. You have to be laser focused. Before you open next door, you have to close. So everything I do, including my underlayment business, talks to each other, right? So it's complements. Think about, McDonald's and Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A actually has less items on the menu and bypass McDonald's by profitability and makes more money than McDonald's and Starbucks and one other restaurant combined. So, and their menu is short. There's a reason for it. They can sell more stuff. They're not going to. So the less stuff, I cancel services all the time. The reason when I say I do radio, because I need to feed the beast. For me, the beast is a YouTube. So I need to create more content. So every week I do three, four solid pieces of content. The reason I did a radio show is because it's consistent YouTube content and older people. So I connect homeowners and contractors. Homeowners actually will call me for advice, like Dmitry, blah, blah, blah. Like, so we share stories. Like the whole show is sponsored by Contractor Directory, and I connect them. So I need those stories. Homeowners, older population are more open to a radio host than a YouTuber, right? This actually
Mhm.
gives me more credibility. So if I tell people I have a radio show, oh boom, like can I talk to you from my radio show? Yes, they understand it. So the reason I did a radio show is because it complements my YouTube channel, and it's a fresh content, consistent content to YouTube channel. So everything I do is around directory.com and kind of feeds each other. So even my underlayment business, even my, like travels to the contractors, I'll jump on a plane once a month, go visit a company because it's solid content, it's consulting, it's being on the field with the roofers, understanding their problems with the homeowners. So I'm still, because I sold my business, but I feel like I've never left because I still in someone's business every single day, a week or every single month. So for those reasons, my businesses complement each other. If something
Mhm.
is distracting me, I'm closing the door shut. My wife always asks me, "How can you like cancel something like and never look back?" Because I don't miss my roofing company. I'm in a roofing, it's like old girlfriend. It's like old Texas in a family movie with a family man with Nicolas Cage. There is a
Mhm.
brilliant line. Old girlfriends like old Texas. Keep it in the past.
Yeah.
Well, all businesses. Once you shut the service, if you say tomorrow, hey, we're not gonna do siding, you shut the door, you don't miss siding. When I started the roofing company, I was doing basement remodeling, and I finished like four basements first year. And then I made the decision I'm not gonna do basements. Guess what? I have so many people I gave estimates, they were begging me to do their basements. I'm like, done. I'm doing roofing. This is way more profitable. I'm not spending 1 month in someone's basement when I can do four roofs in 4 days and make the same amount of money. But again, how many roofers or contractors you know who will say no to $50,000 job they already sold? Once
Not
I
many.
shut the door, I'm not gonna go back.
Yeah.
So old girlfriend, it's old tax. We're not digging it. We're not reviewing with IRS that 2013 how much money I made. We
Yeah.
moved.
Leave the Earl girlfriends are like old taxes. Leave them in the past. I love that, man. No, that makes all the sense in the world, and that is kind of what I have reduced everything to is to precisely what you said. Like, okay, I'll take on my goal this year was like I'll take on my wife when we have our child's on the way. I won't be able to travel in a couple weeks. Like she's due September 3rd, and the goal was okay. I want to at least make it possible for you to stay home, but I don't want to pull from Potomac because I have a leadership board. I don't know. I don't want to like seem like I'm like dumping that weight. And honestly, I wanted to do it, so it is what it is, right? So I said I'm going to set a goal to where I will offset your income through the consulting company if I take on four clients, really less than that. So $6,000 a month plus 2,000 I agreed to save for the baby, and then a couple thousand for anything else that we could save for I wanted. There's life stuff that pop up, but again, I wouldn't then have to touch anything from Potomac, and that's kind of what I always did when I did consulting. It was just supplemental income. Well, we got the one client that just Jeremy and Jake from Minnesota, and they're phenomenal, and they've been so good and excellent. And they're averaging $1,000 a square, closing at 50%. I'd like them to have a couple more closers. They only have one right now and a handful of canvassers, but we'll get there. However, at least I can bring in my group of guys that are here. So like my CFO, he's fractional. He gets to come in and he'll do like an audit on theirs and see their numbers and everything and kind of like, hey, here's what I suggest. And like all this is part of it. But like that allows me to get my guys in and make more money. Like I'll pay them, so like the packages, and then I'm paying them. So like Roger, he gets to get paid. My regional gets to get paid. If it's for canvassing, I'll send my canvassing guys out and fly them out, or vice versa. They get paid. So like everybody's in on the action. But the number one rule is if it pulls from Potomac, it's dead. Like if you're my canvas manager and I can pay you extra next weekend, great. That's really great. But if it's like, well, I can't do my normal job for Potomac because of Baden, which is the company Baden Consulting, it's dead. So I feel like I have that. I'd love to hear your thoughts, man. I'll love to pick your brain more, man. Perhaps there's some things that you could help
Well,
work
come
with
to
me
that
on.
next week. We'll break the bread. We'll talk. We'll talk some more. Actually, my wife just texted me. She's asking me to take my daughter to the soccer game.
Yeah,
So
man.
I did that.
You've been very kind and God bless, dude. Thank you so much for taking your time with us, man. And I'm looking forward to meeting with you next week and hopefully doing some work with you in the future as well. Thank you,
Okay,
Dimitri.
brother.
Oh, Dimitri, how do we find you? I want to make sure we shout out your YouTube. I know everybody already knows, but just in case.
Sure. Roofing Insights everywhere. So it's either my first last name, Dmitry Lipinskiy on Instagram, Facebook, social media. I have a website, dmitrylipinskiy.com. I do have a YouTube channel, Roofing Insights. So pretty much all social media. Very
Yeah,
easy to find.
most people already know him, but just in case you don't, there you have it. Dimitri, thank you so much. Look forward to
Thank you,
seeing you next
brother.
week, my brother. God bless.
You too.